Alright, good night everybody. So I'm just doing a quick video. I just wanted to show you the Village Juicery Goodnight blend, which is for rest and relaxation before you go to bed. You have tart cherry juice, chamomile tea, holy basil, valerian, lemon balm, lavender. So you're getting all of these nice herbals, mint, honey, raw honey, lemon, and vanilla. Guys, music's on. Okay, so I'm just like getting to the gym and it's a new morning. What's up? It's your girl Alicia, and if you are new to the channel, welcome. Very happy that you are here. And yeah, today we are talking about I'm actually going to be talking about imposter syndrome because it's a really horrible thing to go through, and I know a lot of us go through it, and I just want to touch base on that just a little bit today. But I'm also going to be talking about how to optimize your sleep, and just by that I mean like what type of routine you have for yourself before you go to bed, and if it is consistent, if you're going to bed at the same time every night, or if you have some type of routine when it comes to right before bed, either meditating, journaling, etc. But before we get started into that, I'm just getting to the gym. I'm going to be trying out one of my clients' new program that they're going to be starting next week, and then I have filming to do for some companies, and we're gonna get into the topic for today. So I hope you guys have a beautiful day. It's 7:30 a.m. Again, remember, subscribe, like, leave a comment, send this to a friend because we want your friend to be in our community as well. So see you guys later. It's hot day. Definitely hot day. Cool. Imposter syndrome a lot lately, and I find that it usually happens when I'm overthinking the process of everything business. When I'm on Instagram, sometimes the thought process is like, well, like, how come you're only at this amount of followers and you've been doing this for so long? Or like just thinking about how many times I should be posting and what should come first and what shouldn't come first. And it happens to go over and over again in my head to the point that I kind of just like lock up. And then I think about so many other things that's so far out of my way, that's not present, that tends to block what is happening to me right now in reality, and being present and being grateful for it. So sometimes, usually like this weekend, I noticed that I usually tend to close up and just get really quiet, and I feel like it makes people feel uncomfortable around me, which it's unfortunate because I don't mean for anyone to feel that way. It's just me trying to navigate what's happening up here, and when I'm trying to navigate what's happening up here, I'm unaware what's happening out there. So I've been doing So anytime this actually happens, I try to like take a step back and just dial into how I'm feeling, acknowledge it, understand it, and then try to proceed with my day. Sometimes I feel that I might have to like dial it back a little bit further, and anything that I had planned for my day, I usually either scrap it or I choose one out of like maybe three things that I was supposed to do and just do that one thing just so I feel like, okay, well, you're doing something. But I also believe that it is okay just to not do anything, because sometimes you have to just go through the emotion to actually understand what's happening. Now, I usually sometimes will just take the day and just be okay with it. And then the next day, like today, I'm like, all right, this is what we have to get done. So the main thing that I had on my list yesterday, which was Sunday, was just making sure I wrote out what this week is supposed to look like, because if I didn't do it yesterday, then today would probably be a little bit of a disaster and I'd be set back with time, because I was up from 5 o'clock this morning getting ready so I could head to the gym early. And I just knew that, okay, well, today this is what I feel like. Let's just make sure this part of this day gets done, and then whatever flows within the day will flow. And Sundays just really just a relax day for the most part. Sometimes I will work. Yesterday I did choose to work a little bit because I felt like that was going to make me feel just, I guess, occupied and not thinking about what I was thinking about myself. And I just know that the feeling is normal, and I know that when imposter syndrome does come along, you kind of have two choices. You can allow it to consume you and carry that into days, that leads into weeks, that leads into months, that can lead into a year. Or you can have that day, acknowledge it, understand it, maybe journal about it so you can actually get the emotions out, and then just leave it alone and move forward, because I know for a fact that I myself am not that person. And sometimes imposter syndrome can be the opposite of feeling bad. Sometimes imposter syndrome can be that version of yourself you've been wanting to be or looking to become for a very long time, and you're there, and then you're like, whoa, this really felt good. This was a confident boost, and you like that imposter syndrome, and you keep going into that until it becomes natural, until it becomes what it is that you want it to be. And I do have those days too. I mean, I wouldn't be here doing this, talking in front of the camera to whomever listens to what I have to say, if it wasn't for the positive side of imposter syndrome, because sometimes I like it here. And there are other days when imposter syndrome is on the negative side and I don't like it, but I also work through it. And I think being more vocal about it is helping me, and me stepping into uncomfortable positions, uncomfortable situations, helps me grow even more. Because again, if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be sitting here doing things that used to make me very uncomfortable, and now I'm just doing it because I actually really like it. And I always knew that I liked doing this. I just kept it in my head for a very, very long time, and just on repeat. And something inside me was like, you can do it, but it's not going to turn out well, until I started doing it and I realized, well, the first time I do it is not going to be the best. Maybe the second time or the fourth time or the fifth time. But with that process, with that progress within the process, I get to see things that didn't work well and things that did work well. And I get to pick and choose what I'm going to stick with. And I love sticking with the things that worked very well, because then I start seeing the evolving, like me evolving in what it is, that craft that it is that I'm working on. So yeah, that's what's been happening for it's probably been like 2 days. And I also too is like, I find around this time, getting close to my birthday, I always end up in this like reflective mode, and it has a lot to do with like my grandfather passing away and a few years back, and it kind of always like gets me to be a little bit uneasy. But I also told myself this year that I'm going to celebrate turning 30, because 30 is such a great stepping stone in everything that I've done in my 20s, and I really want to not create such a negative atmosphere around myself at this moment. So whenever I feel something coming in, like imposter syndrome, I'm going to kick it out of the way. So, yeah. But yeah, it's just something I've been working on, and I felt like I needed to talk about it because I didn't know how to. And now that I've talked about it, I feel so much better. Yeah. Ooh, all right, we're back. I'm loving my hair, by the way. I'm loving my hair today. It's really big. It's full. Yeah. There's a reason why I don't always have it out like this, because it will become a lot for me to comb. But anyways, we are talking about bedtime routines and how to optimize our sleep. Now, when I talk about sleep, it's one of my favorite topics, because I always ask people how many hours of sleep are they getting, and most cases, a lot of people are either saying 4 to 5 or 6 to 7. Now, optimal time for most people is 7 to 8, and that's where a lot of people thrive. For others, sometimes 6 to 7 is where they thrive. And this is only applicable if you have consistency. If you don't have consistency within your bedtime routine, then you're always going to be fluctuating, and you're not actually going to know how many hours you actually thrive off of when you go to bed. So, 3 questions I like to ask and get people to reflect on is, well, number one. Number one is, what time is your last meal? Now, the reason why we ask what time is your last meal is because you actually want to think about, okay, if my body has its own circadian clock, do my organs have their own circadian clock? And yes, they do. And when and if your last bite is usually right before bed, you can find that you're going to have a disruption in your sleep, where you might be waking up in the middle of the night, or you might see that you're having a little bit of stomach issues and waking up to go straight to the washroom and whatnot. Now, our last bite, usually we want it between 2 to 3 hours. That way we give our organs enough time to break down the food and allow our bodies to digest the food properly and relax and rejuvenate and cleanse. Now, when we keep disrupting our organ circadian clock, you're going to see, again, disruption in your sleep. You might be waking up with high high cortisol spikes because your body's under stress, or you may be waking up because, again, your body is telling you, you got 2 things. I can allow this food to digest, or I'm going to try to get it out of your body as quickly as possible because I don't want to deal with it. So that is number 1. Think about when's the last meal of your day, and how long is it away from when you're going to bed. This has nothing to do with gaining weight. I'm telling you, nothing to do with gaining weight. This is literally just about having optimal sleep. So, number two, we're talking about what is the last activity that you are doing before bed. When we think about the last activity, I'm talking about, are you in front of a screen? That could be your TV, that can be your phone, that can be your laptop, you could be playing a video game. All these things have one thing in common, and that is blue light. When it comes to blue light, it has shown in research that it delays the production of melatonin up to 50%, and it doesn't allow us to go to bed. Now, essentially, what happens is that it releases melatonin up to 2 to 3 hours later. So when you think about it, if melatonin is not being produced at the accurate amount of time that we actually need it to be produced, what usually happens? Insomnia. And that's what we don't want. So I would say and suggest moving things like screens away from your bedtime and start implementing other things like maybe journaling, reading a book, also, meditating. I like meditating. I like to take my routine and flip it around just a little bit. So one night it can be meditation, one night it can be journaling, or it could be reading. I find that reading aloud is actually really soothing, and it helps you fall asleep a little bit faster. But the key is us moving away from that blue light so our production of melatonin can be at its right production. Now, the last one is we're looking at stress factors. Are there any stressors around your sleep? Now, stressors can be creating you to not sleep, like insomnia, anxiety, and so much more. But we also just want to make sure that we're using our bedroom as the room that we just sleep in. Now, when we're using our bedroom as more than one thing, and unfortunately, not everybody has the opportunity to have a different space outside of their bedroom to do homework, to eat food, etc. and etc. But when and if you can, use your bedroom for only sleeping, because that means that your body knows when it's entered into that room, it's a place for nirvana. It's a place for you to relax, stress free, and for you to actually just fall asleep. If it's a place where you're constantly just busy and there's so many things going around in there, that can cause you anxiety because you're thinking about other things. If you're thinking about studying and you study in your room at all times, what do you think your mind's going to be on when you enter your room? Probably studying, right? So you kind of want to take yourself away from your room when it comes to things that are important, like work, um, studying for school. When it comes to eating, you want to make sure that your room is not your kitchen. You want your room to be a place, again, for just things like sleeping and resting and relaxing, and the kitchen is where you're going to do all the eating that you're going to do. Now, I would say within those three things that we just talked about, think about it and write things down. I started into my journey of finding out when was the best time for me to sleep and what I was thriving on between 7 and 8 hours was probably about 3 or 4 years ago, because I realized I was constantly going to bed really, really late. I'm talking about like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and then I'd be waking up again another 3, 4 hours. And when you think about it, I was tired. And I know a lot of people that are still like that, but I want you to understand that sleep is not for the weak. Sleep is for the strong, okay? Sleep is for the strong, hands down. But if you are having trouble sleeping, there are other things that you can use, like herbal remedies that are really great to help you relax and reduce your stress to help you fall asleep a little bit better. Now, for different herbals that help you with sleep, would be like valerian, chamomile tea, passion flower, lemon balm, lavender. Those for and there's so many more. There's so many more herbs that you can use, but those are the most common that you can that usually people use. You can see that in tinctures. You can get it in tea as well, loose leaf tea. You can drink that before bed, because remember, water and tea doesn't really disrupt your sleep unless it's caffeinated. So you want to make sure the tea that you're getting is not caffeinated, and it's something that's just going to allow your body to come into the calm state. Now, I did show you the Village Juicery drink, which is, I don't know, I just did that to my hair. Sorry. I did show you the Village Juicery drink that pretty much had like all the herbs, and I tell you that is probably one of my favorites to use now when it comes to having a little bit of stress before I go to bed and I just need something to relax me and get my nervous system calm. But there is one other one that I like to use, which is Genuine Health Deep Sleep, and I'm going to show that to you in the next clip. But with Genuine Health Deep Sleep, I really, really like that one. But I'm going to stress this, don't be reliant on all of this stuff for you to fall asleep. You really want to try to just fall asleep without anything that's inducing you. But if you know that you're struggling, talk to your practitioner or your doctor about different herbal supplements that you can look into to use. Okay, so this is Deep Sleep. Let me see it. Can you see it? There you go. So this is Deep Sleep from Genuine Health. This one I really like as well. So between Village Juicery's Rest and Relax and Deep Sleep, both of them are a little bit different in the sense that with the Village Juicery one, that one just helps me just calm down. I like to take it right after or before I meditate, and then while I'm meditating, my body is just getting back into that zone, relaxing, ready to drift off into sleep. Where with Deep Sleep here with organic reishi mushroom, we have the organic reishi mushroom, the L-theanine, the GABA, the magnesium, and the melatonin. With this one, it's going to reduce the time it does take you to fall asleep, but you're going to find a significant difference in sleeping within your sleep, as in like, I know that I'm not waking up in the middle of the night anymore when I do take this. But I realized that like my sleep is so deep that I actually don't hear anything, and normally I'm a light sleeper. So this one I really like, especially during the times when I knew that I was waking up in the middle of the night. But now, when I said before is that you don't want to rely on all of these supplements or herbal remedies in order for you to fall asleep. I only use this for a couple of weeks just to get me back into routine, and now I'm pushing myself off of this so I can just sleep. And also I'm going to be working on my cortisol, my adrenals, and all of that through a protocol. So I'm getting to the root cause of what's happening with the body, but I was really happy that this was something that was helpful for me when it came to my sleeping, and the Village Juicery as well. And I also just love chamomile tea at nighttime, as well as valerian tea and all those different tinctures too, just because that's something that you can drink. But yeah, that was what I wanted to show you. So after this video, now that we're done talking about how to optimize your sleep, we're going to be talking about how to optimize your wake up. So that will be a new video for you guys coming out next week on how to optimize your wake up if you're feeling like every time you wake up you're too exhausted. And let me tell you, I worked on that one as well. And then after all is done, I will be putting out the ebook to how to optimize your sleep and your wake up for you guys to do a follow along of checking your habits and things that you can start adding in and taking out when it comes to your sleep routine. And yeah, that is it. I hope you guys like this video. Remember to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Thank you so much for just always coming back and listening to everything that I had to say. Bye guys.